Northeastern Illinois was the strongest area of anti-slavery sentiment in the state of Illinois. As early as 1838, residents of Lake County discussed the abolishment of slavery, and in 1846 organized the Lake County Anti-Slavery Society. Before the American Civil War, anti-slavery sentiment inspired abolitionists to work for the immediate emancipation of all enslaved people and to end racial discrimination. As part of abolitionist efforts, they aided fugitives from slavery by providing them with food and safe passage to freedom in northern states and ultimately Canada. Lake County's most dynamic advocate of abolitionism was Reverend William B. Dodge, pastor of the Milburn Congregational Church. Setting the stage for his leadership role in Lake County were his roots in Salem, Massachusetts, where he worked in education, and he and his wife Sarah harbored freedom seekers in their home. In March 1846, Reverend Dodge was among the founders of the Lake County Liberty Association, which met in Libertyville and denounced the notorious Illinois black laws that restricted the civil liberties of people of African descent. Dodge's Milburn congregation passed a resolution on February 7, 1853, declaring they would, quote, withhold all acts of human fellowship from those who live in the practice of this sin, slavery, till they manifest their repentance by letting the oppressed go free. One story of the Underground Railroad in Lake County takes place in Deerfield. In the winter of 1858, an enslaved man, Andrew Jackson, made his way via the Underground Railroad from Mississippi to Lake County, Illinois. His goal was freedom in Canada, but when he reached Lake Michigan and found it frozen over, Jackson was brought to the home of Lyman Wilmot, a known abolitionist in Deerfield. Wilmot knew that his neighbors, Lorenz and Maria Ott, were against slavery and needed help on their farm. So he arranged for Jackson to stay the winter with the Otts, who were German immigrants and had a young family. The Ott farm was on Saunders Road, where Jackson helped the family with chores, including keeping the horses clean and making, quote, a gate of stout wood for the fence around the family's home, which Jackson told them would, quote, last until the slaves are freed. The Ott children, Samuel and Sarah, taught Jackson to read and write. Samuel later recalled that he enjoyed getting to know Jackson. When the roads became passable in the spring of 1859, Lorenz Ott, who was a tailor by trade, made Jackson a new suit of clothes. The shears and thimble he used are in the Dunn Museum's collection. It is possible that the textiles used to make the clothes were created by Maria Ott, who spun and wove materials into cloth for her family. This calico work dress was worn by Maria Ott and likely made by her. The dress, which is in the collections of the Dunn Museum, dates to about the time the family harbored Andrew Jackson. It is a remarkable example of a woman's work dress worn while doing chores around the farm. Dresses such as this were not usually saved and passed down through the generations. Typically, work clothes were used until they wore out and then were turned into rags or scraps to be sewn into quilts. With Jackson ready to continue his journey, the Otts gave him boat fare to Canada, and Lyman Wilmot took him to Chicago to board the ship. When Jackson reached his destination in Canada, he wrote a letter to the Otts, letting them know he had arrived safely. Other stories of underground activity exist, but Jackson's journey to freedom is the best documented on the Underground Railroad in Lake County. Due to the necessity of secrecy to protect freedom seekers and the people who assisted them, documentation is rare. However, research is ongoing to shed more light on activities to aid those in need.